Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Alcos, Ms. Amato, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Chun, Ms. Cochran,
Excused?
Mr. Evslin, Mr. Garcia,
Excused?
Mr. Garrett, Ms. Grandinetti, Mr. Hashem, Mr. Holt, Mr. Hussey, Ms. Ichiyama, Mr. Iligan, Ms. Iwamoto, Ms. Kahaloa, Ms. Capella, Ms. Kohokapu Liloy, Mr. Kila,
Excused?
Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Kong, Mr. Kush, Ms. Lachika,
Excused?
Ms. Lamosao, Mr. Lee, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Martin, Mr. Matayoshi,
Excused?
Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. Miyake, Ms. Morikawa, Mr. Muraoka, Mr. Olds, Ms. Peruso, Mr. Pirik, Ms. Poepoe, Mr. Quinlan, Ms. Reyes Oda, Mr. Sayama, Mr. Shimizu, Ms. Souza, Mr. Takayama, Ms. Takenouchi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Ms. Templo, Mr. Todd, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamashita, Madam Speaker.
Here.
Madam Speaker, 45 members are present, 5 are excused.
Thank you. Item number 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item number 3, messages from the governor. Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we are in receipt of Governor's message numbers 1102 through 1118, informing the House that the noted House and Senate bills were signed into law on April 10, 2025, and designated as Acts 2 through 18. May these matters be received and filed.
So ordered. Item number 4, Senate communications. Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Madam Speaker, if you and the members will turn your attention to the addendum to today's order of the day. We are in receipt of a communication informing the House that the Senate has disagreed to the amendments proposed by the House to the noted Senate bills.
Introductions. Members, are there any introductions? Representative Hussey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and colleagues, in the gallery today we have Monique Ibarra, the Executive Director of Domestic Violence Action Center, and some of her staff members I see. And I'm a proud current, and I guess I've been for a while, I've been on the DVAC board. And DVAC has done incredible work over the last 35 years in advocating for the survivors of domestic violence. So please welcome Monique and her staff to their House of Representatives.
Representative Sayama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to recognize a special individual in the gallery who is a constituent, board member for the neighborhood board for St. Louis Heights, Kapahulu, Diamond Head, as well as a dedicated employee of IHS, Angie Knight. If you could please stand to be recognized. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As you all know, today is our Easter basket drive for the Women's Legislative Caucus. So I'd like to introduce the groups that we have here today. First, with the Domestic Violence Action Center, we have Monique Ibarra, we have Lonnie Moore, Ricky Esposito, Anna Peratera, Therese Patioy, Lisi Ferguson, Jordan Addison, and Michael Robinson. If you can all stand, and we'll give you a round of applause again. Thank you. And for the Institute of Human Services, again, we have Angie Knight, and we have Heather Henderson. If we can give the Institute for Human Services a round of applause. With Parents and Children Together, we have Trisha Kajimura, Eddie Esperante, Leigh Morrison, and Kaho Otake. If you can please rise. We also have the Salvation Army, Major Kimberly Stambaugh, Major Thomas Stambaugh, and Letitia Bryant. If we can give them a round of applause. And last but not least, with Mahalo Mai, we have Gail Johnson. If we can one more time welcome them all to their House of Representatives. Mahalo.
Representative Kila.
Mahalo, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, I'd like to welcome a constituent and dear friend, Dan Hare. Please rise. Dan is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Navian Hawaii, a nonprofit organization that provides hospice, palliative, and kupuna care. In 2023, over 21% of Hawaii's residents were 65 years and older, and this mission from Navian is to help each of these residents get their age in place carefully and gracefully with dignity, and help all of our Hawaii residents. Dan, mahalo for your work, and welcome to the Hawaii House of Representatives.
Representative Grandinetti.
Thank you, Speaker. Na'opio Vaivai is a youth-led council for the nonprofit organization E Kolu Mea Nui, rooted in Native Hawaiian values and dedicated to ending the cycle of intergenerational incarceration. Na'opio Vaivai empowers young leaders, many of whom are directly impacted by the justice system, to heal, rise, and lead through culture, advocacy, and community. Grounded in the belief that our youth are sacred and central to the future of our lahui, this council provides cultural mentorship, leadership, development, and a platform for youth voice in policy and systems change. Through this work, Na'opio Vaivai reclaims pathways for young people to thrive, grounded in Aina, Ohana, and Ike Kupuna. And today I got to meet 3 leaders from Na'opio Vaivai's Hawaii Island Council. We have, if you could please rise, Zoe Martinez, Haile Kealoha, and Oakland Unea Beamer. We also are missing Oahu's representative, Ohavai Manuel, but we do have E Kolu Mea Nui's co-executive directors, Kale Kealoha and Dr. Jamie Miller. Thank you. I got to meet with them this morning, and it was one of my favorite meetings so far this session. Welcome to your House of Representatives. And Speaker, if I could make one more introduction.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I'd also like to introduce Samantha Avila Gomez. Oh, there we go. And Sonia Giardina, who are students at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. They're amazing student leaders who are part of ASUH, the University Student Government Association. And they're here today in hopes of bridging the gap between UH and the legislature and to find meaningful ways to create more opportunities for students to be civically engaged. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Quinlan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the gallery today, we have a North Shore community leader. Some of you may recognize her from your law school days. Defender of the Aina, bane of developers, former dean, Denise Antolini.
If there are no further introductions, let's go on to the order of the day. Item number 5, reports of standing committees. Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Report numbers 2045 through 2057 as listed on pages 2 through 5, and that the accompanying Senate concurrent resolutions, as may be amended, be referred to their designated committees.
Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on these items beginning with HSCR number 2045, 2046, 2047? Representative Pyrick.
No vote.
So ordered. We're at the top of page 3, Standing Committee Report number 2048. 2049, Representative Pyrick.
No vote.
So ordered. 2050. At the top of page 4, Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for SCR 2050.
Please proceed.
I oppose. Thank you.
So ordered. Moving on to the Representative Muraoka.
No vote.
So ordered. Moving on to the top of page 4, Standing Committee Report 2051. Representative Muraoka.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Pirik.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in opposition with a comment, please.
Please proceed.
This resolution is declaring a public health emergency relating to climate change, requiring solutions to strengthen Hawaii's public health response to the climate crisis. And although I can appreciate the noble and righteous endeavor, my opposition lies in the uncertainty that Vice Speaker spoke about. My opposition is trying to redirect with hope and desire to focus on specific areas that we are well aware of that need help. Our public health system has such a broad array of services and coverages in our disadvantaged communities. There are so many gaps and problems in homelessness, disadvantaged communities, domestic violence and abuse, criminal justice system, our welfare system, our education system, our SNAP system, which stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Hawaii Public Housing Authority, housing for our disadvantaged, missing children and sex trafficking, foster care, kopuna care, to name a few, and the list can go on. Basically, I am hoping that we can be focused in our attention in identifying problems and really getting into the root of the problem, not overanalyzing, but really getting down to specific action. And I think we could already begin doing that without another exhaustive study. My comments. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Elkos.
No vote.
So ordered. Okay, let's move on to Standing Committee Report 20.
Madam Speaker?
Representative Peruso.
My apologies. So I don't think that there's any uncertainty.
Are you for or?
I am in strong support.
Please proceed.
The scientific consensus is clear. Rising sea levels in Hawaii are already eroding our shorelines, damaging roads, threatening homes in coastal areas, and we know that warmer ocean temperatures contribute to coral bleaching and harm marine ecosystems, which support both our local fisheries and the tourism industry, if we're worried about that. Extreme weather events like powerful storms and hurricanes are becoming more frequent, putting a strain on our infrastructure and endangering residents. Declaring a public health emergency ensures that we confront these realities so that we can develop coordinated resources and policies to safeguard our islands for future generations. I'm concerned about the disinformation being spread on social media about pseudoscience generated by the fossil fuel companies, but hopefully, as well-informed legislators, we can help educate our communities about the fallacies underlying fossil fuel company science. Mahalo.
Representative Elkos.
Second time brief comment.
Please proceed.
I do like.
Are you still in opposition?
In opposition. I do like a cleaner environment, climate. I believe my community as well wants it. But with all this climate change, finance and money that we support, I still want to know what's going on with our sea level rise. I want to know what's going on with our studies that we invested millions of dollars with. I want to know, are we gaining, are we losing the battle? All these departments come to us and ask for money for a new truck, a couple more employees. But when it's just say climate change, I want to know a little bit more specific in detail. How is it going to help us? Are we looking at a 10-year term? What is the plan more specifically when they come and ask for finance and money, and how is it going to protect us? Thank you.
Representative Hussey.
In support.
Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to address the question raised by the previous speaker, which is, and I'll just say we are losing the fight, which is why I think it's so important that this measure pass. We need to understand that climate change is not an abstract danger specifically to the environment. The environment includes people. It includes our people, our 1.5 million residents of Hawaii. And I think it's important, first of all, and primarily that we think of climate change as something that will affect our people. And for that reason, I am in support. Thank you very much.
Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In opposition.
Please proceed.
Still in opposition. Again, I appreciate the counter arguments by my colleagues, and there's no argument that climate change is important to study. Again, I point to the desire and hope that our efforts would be focused in areas that we know have problems, areas that affect us daily, areas that we've been introducing many bills and having many hearings and public testimonies receiving.
Madam Speaker, point of order. Just very broadly, I think this measure is addressing the specific link between climate change and public health, and I think we should keep the debate to that specificity.
Representative Shimizu, please stick to the resolution at hand.
I thought I was doing that, so my apologies if it was interpreted in a different way. Again, my hope is just to focus on problems that we know are there. So thank you again, Madam Speaker.
Representative Belatti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, in strong support.
Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to have the words of the representatives from Kalihi and Wahiawa entered into the journals if they were my own.
So ordered.
And just brief remarks. Madam Speaker, we know that climate change is a problem. As the previous speaker said, we are dealing with all kinds of questions and policy issues. This resolution specifically talks about public health. What we know and what international organizations know is that we now have this thing called a climate refugee. People who are having to leave their countries because sea level rise is affecting their homes. They're being forced to leave. They are having to immigrate to places like Hawaii. We can say that some of those climate refugees are some of the hardest hit communities, the most vulnerable. Some of those even are from our COFA communities. So although this resolution does not address the issue of immigration, climate refugees, when we talk about public health and the impacts of public health on, or the impacts of climate crisis on public health, we're also talking about the people who are harmed, not just our people, but the people who are coming to our shores. And that is going to exact a toll on our communities, on our budgets, on the policies and the solutions we are going to have to fashion moving forward. So for those reasons, I strongly support this resolution that connects climate crisis and public health impacts. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Souza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, in strong support.
Please proceed.
I would like the words of the representatives from Wahiawa, Kalihi, and Makiki inserted into the record as my own. Thank you.
So ordered. Representative Muraoka.
In opposition.
Please proceed.
You know, I just wanted to state, Madam Speaker, that I don't think anybody's against that. And my opposition comes from, I'm going to read it, declaring a public health emergency relating to climate change. And I do want to use some of the words of our speaker before me, that people are leaving because of climate change. I would like to also point out that people are leaving their homes here because of cost of living. Yet I haven't seen a declaration for a public health emergency based on cost of living.
Speaker.
I'm done.
She said.
Anyway, the point of order was,
Representative Souza.
thank you, that his comments were not germane to the bill. Thanks.
Thank you. Representative Lowen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, in support.
Please proceed.
Just to come back to the content of the bill relating to public health, there are very clear and real public health impacts of climate change, notably increased high heat events where you can have really serious health impacts, especially with kids in schools, the increase of vector-borne diseases and issues like crop failure, water insecurity, and the impacts, for example, of sea level rise would have if it caused our sewers to back up and then we were exposed to the kind of pathogens that can be carried by wastewater. So this is actually very focused on public health impacts. There are very real health impacts of climate change, and these are often overlooked in favor of some of the other things we've heard other speakers mention, and that is what this reso is trying to accomplish. Thank you.
Representative Tam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In support.
Please proceed.
I would just like to have the words of the Chair of Energy and Environmental Protection inserted into the journal as if they're my own. And I also
So
would
ordered.
like, thank you. I would also like to add that the heat impacts also affect our kupuna, many of whom live in my district, and I am supporting this resolution because I feel that this resolution will make a difference in their lives.
Let's move on to Standing Committee Report number 2052. 2053. 2054. Representative Amato.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In strong support.
Please proceed.
Thank you. South Maui is rapidly growing and faces terrible traffic problems caused by overdevelopment without adequate infrastructure, severe flooding because of climate change, road closures, and high wildfire risks. This resolution for the Kihei-Mauka bypass urges for the development of Kihei roads needed for safe egress in medical and other emergencies like floods and wildfires. We must have this critically needed fire evacuation route, which is why I requested CIP funds for the design. I share this with you all today as it is my hope that this resolution will open the door for adequate funding for the safety of South Maui, which is currently a primary TAT revenue generator on Maui, my home, and also home to approximately 30,000 of my neighbors. Thank you, Speaker.
Standing Committee Report number 2055. Representative Souza.
No vote, Madam Speaker, and permission to insert written comments into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Standing Committee Report 2056. 2057. Representative Amato.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Souza.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Alcos.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Muraoka.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Shimizu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No vote, please.
So ordered. Representative Reyes-Ona.
Reservations.
So ordered. Okay, let's move on to Standing Committee Report 2057. Okay, members, we will be taking a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion is carried. Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Report numbers 2058 through 2065 as listed on pages 6 and 7, and that the accompanying Senate concurrent resolutions, as may be amended, be adopted.
Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on these items beginning with HSCR number 2058? Representative Pirek.
No vote.
So ordered. 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063. Representative Pirek.
No vote.
So ordered. 2064, 2065. Representative Souza.
In strong support and permission to insert written comments into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Members, we will be taking a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion is carried. Okay. Members, we will be, please turn to your digital action sheets by clicking on the Action Sheet tab on the top middle of your screen. We will be taking up a motion to reconsider our previous action in disagreeing to the Senate amendments and give notice of the intent to agree. Representative Todd.
Madam Speaker, I move to reconsider action previously taken in disagreeing to the amendments made by the Senate and to give notice of the intent to agree to the amendments to House Bill 1194, HD2, as referenced on your digital action sheets.
Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion? Representative Kush.
Can you maybe just give us a moment? I see no one's page is loading.
Okay, let's
So we
take
can't
a
see.
recess.
Thank you.
Will the House come back to order? Let's see. Is there any discussion? Representative Belatti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand in opposition for, I believe, the motion to reconsider to accept the Senate amendments.
Please proceed.
May I request that I have an opportunity to insert written comments?
So ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hopefully briefly, 2025, it's been said that these are unprecedented times, and it surely is. There is a first time for everything, and I had never thought that I would stand up to speak in opposition to a motion to reconsider agreement when that is what has been recommended. However, my opposition is based on procedural issues and procedural grounds. This motion to reconsider to accept the amendments is a premature procedural move that artificially cuts off and circumvents the democratic process from playing out in its full and most robust form. Our Vice Speaker today gave an invocation that talked about how conference is a time when we negotiate with our counterparts, amongst ourselves, with stakeholders, and that's ultimately with community. So it's for these three reasons why I oppose this motion that will cut off and circumvent the democratic process. First, negotiation with our counterparts. There are no less than 3 drafts on the Senate side. We had 2 drafts on our side and multiple amendments. We deserve, the people of Hawaii deserve, for us to be negotiating in conference, which is being cut off by this motion. Amongst ourselves, Madam Speaker, I had really high hopes at the beginning of this year from a January 16, 2025 press release from this House where we stated a new rule, and we applauded it, that members may be appointed to a conference committee even after voting against the adoption of a resolution or bill, allowing for continued input during the final deliberation stage. That opportunity is being cut off because we will not be able to go to conference. And now for our stakeholders and for our communities, and why this motion prematurely, absolutely prematurely cuts off the opportunity for negotiation and conversation with our communities. We have all asked our communities to stay engaged, to call in and support amendments or support a bill in conference. This motion today will cut that process off for this community. And I know that if the good representative from Hawaii Kai was here, he would say that we should have a full, robust debate because this House is the marketplace of ideas. And when we take this motion and we accept this motion, we are not letting the full marketplace of ideas move forward because we are not allowing sides that disagree vehemently to come to the negotiating table. I will say, when you have the most conservatives and the most liberals potentially agreeing that the ultimate bill is not going to be a good bill, we in this House...
Madam Speaker, point of order. This is about the motion to reconsider action, not about the political parties or political leanings of anyone involved.
Please keep your comments to the motion to reconsider.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will refrain from, I'll retract that statement about how members in this body may come to agreement on the ultimate merits. But I will say, Madam Speaker, again, this vote on this motion to reconsider cuts off a vital process, a vital part of our legislative process where we can negotiate and come to more common ground. For those reasons, Madam Speaker, I oppose this motion. Thank you.
Representative Iwamoto.
I rise in opposition and ask that the words of the representative from Makiki be entered into the journal as my own. Thank you.
So ordered. Representative Amato.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would also like to adopt the words of the representative from Makiki as if they're
So
my own.
ordered. Representative Todd.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In support?
Please proceed.
And I will also promise to keep things brief. I just wanted to point out that as our new members may or may not be familiar with, this is relatively standard over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks. We will see I would wager dozens and dozens of bills go through an almost identical process of reconsidering the original motion to disagree as chairs who are entering this conference process, either with or without conference proceedings, will actually agree on the final version of a bill. To me, this is no different, although the timing is a little bit different, partly because this does not have any direct financial impact, so it does not have to wait for the budget process to play out. I would also note that, as pointed out, there have been numerous drafts. Not only has this been vetted out extensively through multiple hearings, probably taking more time than any other piece of legislation outside of maybe the budget, and even that's arguable. But in addition to that, this has also been vetted out over multiple years and multiple sets of legislatures. I don't think I've seen necessarily an original argument made. These are really just kind of philosophical disagreements that people can feel more than entitled to, agree or disagree upon. And lastly, I would say, the purpose of conference is largely to negotiate the differences, and it's typically between those lead chairs. If we have an agreement, then the conference process has played itself out on this particular measure. And we will have a vote next week should this motion pass, where we will have, I am sure, extensive debate here on the House floor, which is an additional time for us to really work things out. And should it pass, it will have an additional process where the governor will have to make a final decision on that. So even though we've had extensive processes, we will continue to have extensive debate on this measure, and that seems fine to me.
Representative Belatti for the second time.
A second time, and just a quick rebuttal and then one question of parliamentary inquiry. Rebuttal, I will agree with the majority caucus leader that yes, this will play out many more times, but the way it will likely play out, and the way it normally has played out by custom and practice, is typically conference committees are convened, and then if a bill looks good and there's been opportunity to discuss and look at comp sheets and all those types of things, then there's a motion and a move to agree that's done at the table in the conference committee amongst the House conferees, if it's a House bill, or the Senate conferees, if it's a Senate bill. So this is very unusual. And secondly, Madam Speaker, just a question of parliamentary inquiry. Will the comp sheet for House Bill 1194, House Draft 2, Senate Draft 3 be available to the members so that while we consider the 48 hours that we have to actually determine the merits of the bill, will we have that comp sheet available to us? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Recess subject to the call of the chair. Calling us back to order. Just to clarify Representative Bellatti's question at the end there, comparison sheets between the Senate and the House bill will be available in 48 hours and uploaded to Gateway. Representative Alcos.
I'm in opposition.
Please proceed.
I would like to take the words of the former representative of Makiki, and also, as she said, for the representative of Hawaii Kai, I think he would be standing up and agreeing with this, so in opposition for this bill. Thank you.
Representative Todd.
Thank you. Again, in support, and
Please proceed.
First time speaking twice on anything, I think. Just as a minor technical aside, while we do have that process play out in conference, this is mostly just for the edification and speaking to the procedural motion. While we do have that process actually play across the conference table, there also will be times where chairs have just agreed and they don't open conference because they're going to agree to the original or the most recent draft. So we will have both processes play out simultaneously, and we'll try our best to keep people up to date.
Representative Quinlan.
In support, Madam Speaker.
Please proceed.
I'm troubled by any insinuation that somehow there's something undemocratic about the process we are undertaking right now on a motion to reconsider. And I would like to ask a rhetorical question of everyone. What is the goal? Is the goal to pass legislation? Is the goal to reach agreement with our Senate counterparts on measures that we think will be beneficial to the public? Or is the goal to engage in processes that may not be necessary, but satisfy some mysterious, ethereal requirement of interests that are often unknown or unsaid? So I would submit that we have done our job. We've had multiple public readings. There's been an incredible amount of input over the past few years. And now that we have finally reached agreement, I don't know that there is a need to continue the process further. This is well in line with our rules. This is well in line with custom and practice over the years. Previous majority leaders have stood here in this same spot, in this same seat, saying the exact same thing that I have before, asking for the exact same motion. And I just want to thank all of the members for their support.
Representative Souza,
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in opposition.
please proceed.
And I would like the words of the representative from Makiki and my co-chair for the Good Government Caucus inserted into the record as my own, and her comments from both times that she stood up. Thank you.
So ordered. Representative Takayama.
Madam Speaker, thank you. I'd like to support the words of the Majority Leader, and as the one who submitted the request for agreement, I can assure my colleagues that I have reviewed the latest Senate draft and have agreed to it, as I have with two other House bills. Thank you very much.
So ordered. Representative Hussey,
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. In opposition to the motion.
please proceed.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to raise concerns which are frankly quite nerdy and wonky. But if you would please indulge me for a moment. My concern is about the way that this impacts our sense of bicameralism, the construction of our legislature. Bicameralism is historically designed to balance two power groups. In the UK and in Hawaii prior to the overthrow, bicameralism was intended to balance between hereditary elites against the general public. But in Hawaii, in our current situation, really the Senate and the House are quite identical, except that the Senate is half the number of members, and so each member of the Senate has twice the amount of power as each one of us does. In addition, they have longer terms, and they have the additional power of advice and consent when we have no corresponding unique power. This power imbalance, I believe, the one way in which it's addressed is through the conference process. And I appreciate the remarks of the representative from the North Shore, but I do think that there is a benefit to moving legislation all the way through the process. And I just want to share that when the notice came out last night indicating that this was the desire of leadership, thank you, Madam Speaker, I was curious about why this would be our direction for this particular measure. And so I wanted to appreciate the remarks from the Health Chair indicating that this was his request. Thank you very much. And I have written remarks that I'd like to insert into the journal.
So ordered. Okay, members, we will be taking a voice vote.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
Madam Speaker. I rise.
Representative Shimizu,
I rise in opposition with a comment.
please proceed.
I appreciate all of the input by my colleagues, and I respect the freedom we have to have different points of view and express them. I came into this floor session intending to probably approve this procedure, but after hearing the chair of the Public Safety offer a passionate explanation of her reason why she is in opposition, I would have to agree that although there are different reasons to approve this procedure, I feel in the spirit of public engagement and allowing time to possibly adjust this bill for those that oppose it, I will be in opposition. So thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Peruso,
With reservations.
please proceed.
So I am uncertain. And I am uncertain because this is a very complicated measure. It's actually taken me 5 years to wrap my head around the issues that around the legislation that we passed in 2019. And I sincerely question whether I adequately understand the measure before us. And I do, while I am not a fan of conference committee in general, like I do appreciate the efforts to streamline and send as few measures to conference committee as possible. It is in precisely this kind of case where, for me, that additional time, that additional ability to negotiate would be useful. And I think that in this particular instance, my objective, or my hope, is that we can pass legislation that won't face legal challenge and will satisfy
With great
the
regret,
courts.
Madam Speaker, point of order. We're speaking about a motion to reconsider.
Yes. So
Please stick to the motion at hand, which is to reconsider.
right. So I am uncertain about whether this is the wisest path forward.
Thank you. Representative Tam,
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With reservations and a brief
please
comment.
proceed.
My reservations on this motion is that the House draft we sent to the Senate is better than the one they sent back.
If there are no further comments, or Representative Souza,
Still in opposition, Madam Speaker.
please proceed.
I would like to request to insert written comments into the journal.
So ordered.
Just a brief comment. I do think that even though this particular motion for reconsideration is a procedural motion, and we are not debating the merits, I do think that this particular bill, due to perhaps its contentious nature, would benefit from the conference process. And so therefore, I am in opposition. And yeah, I think we do need to increase transparency, and the conference process will do that in this particular instance. Thanks.
Okay. Let's move on. Members, we will be taking a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Members, this measure will appear on Monday's order of the day for agree and final reading. Let's move on to item number 8, announcements. Members, are there any announcements? Representative Capella.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm also going to just say thank you to the body. I know it's been a long floor session. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, so thank you for your patience. Tonight is Art at the Capitol. It's finally here, so we actually have something to celebrate. It's going to be beginning at 4:00 p.m. in the Rotunda, and also when many of our offices begin to open to the public for Art at the Capitol. We have an incredible lineup of performers, including musicians, cultural practitioners, dancers, filmmakers, and food vendors. Our food vendors include sweet treats from Malabi, veggie dogs, and for those who love our local options, Lau Lau from Papa Lau Lau's. We also have a chess exhibition that's going to be happening on the second floor, and a tea ceremony demonstrations that will happen in the rotunda and then again on the third floor. Rounding out the evening in the auditorium, starting at 6:30, will be the revival of our legislative talent show. So you won't want to miss it, and please stick around. And I also have a number of thank yous to the people who made this event possible. First, I want to thank my Senate counterpart, Senator Chris Lee, and his staff, the Office of the Governor, the Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Rod, and House Sergeant-at-Arms and Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, House Communications, Senate Communications, the Kathy Squared. You folks are the best. Thank you. Olelo Community Media, all of the legislators and their staff who are choosing to stay and keep their offices open so that the public can view our art. Thank you. And our many volunteers and vendors. I want to thank our performers, Ohana Arts, Ohina Films, that will be showing local films from indie filmmakers right here in our house chamber. The representative from Kamuki and Hawaii, Urasenke, the Hawaii Youth Symphony, Zoe Wilkes, Haley Cheney Kane, Miss Hawaii, who will be performing her Miss America talent, Asiana Saragosa Torres, Miss Hawaii volunteer, who will be emceeing our talent show, Ballet Hawaii, 808 Breakers, Taiko Center of the Pacific, Honolulu Theater for Youth, the Hawaii Chess Federation, and an incredible artist known as Love Jack, who will be performing in the LG and governor's offices. I would also really like to thank some incredible people who are in the gallery today. My staff, my office manager, Ruby Jordan, my committee clerk, Mahalia Gieselman, and my legislative aide, who has really taken the lead on planning Art at the Capitol. These three have spent hours and hours and hours planning this event. So Emma Shell, thank you for your work on this and your leadership. Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to plan Art at the Capitol, and I hope you all stick around to enjoy it.
Thank you for your leadership on this, for this exciting program. Representative Matsumoto.
Again, to remind everybody, we have our Women's Legislative Caucus Easter baskets. It's happening right after session, so right now, because it's been a long session. And so we're going to head up right to the rotunda on the Father Damien side. Please bring your baskets. Please bring all of your staff as well. We will need some extra help going around the barriers to take all of the baskets and give them to the different organizations. So please, we'll see you right after session, and you'll get to see who the Easter Bunny is and the Easter chick. Okay, thank you.
Representative Souza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is just a reminder that the Hawaii Future Caucus, that is co-chaired by myself and the representative from Hawaii Island, will be holding its Intro to Future Caucus Zoom session today at 3 o'clock Hawaii time. This is being put on by the Future Caucus nationally, but if you are eligible and you did receive the email, please tune in at 3 o'clock. Thanks.
Representative Martin.
Thank you. I wanted to invite you folks to come to my office between 5:15 and 5:45 for some live violin music by my talented office manager, Emi Horii, who I've not had the opportunity to introduce here. Also, I'm sitting next to her is Scott Peters, who I have not had the opportunity to introduce, my legislative aide. But just a little live music. Please come take advantage of our talented staff. Thank you.
Representative Sayama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just on behalf of the Hawaii Urasenke Foundation that will be performing the tea ceremony today, they will be having tea demonstration, offering tea candy and tea drinks at room 309, starting from 4:45. They'll have another session at 5:30 and finally at 6:30. So I really welcome every one of your members and staff to please visit. Thank you.
If there are no further announcements, the chair would like to remind committee chairs that today is the lateral filing deadline for Senate concurrent resolutions that need to move to their final committees. Please file your committee reports and drafts with the Chief Clerk's office by 6 p.m. this evening. Representative Morikawa.
Madam Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 11:30 a.m. Monday.
Representative Garcia is not. Representative Riazota.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 11:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. Monday.